Welcome back to EtherLink AI Insights. I'm Alex, and today we're diving into something that's reshaping how businesses serve their customers across Europe. We're talking about AI voice agents, specifically how Amsterdam companies are leveraging them right now, and why 2026 is shaping up to be a critical year for adoption. Sam, thanks for joining me.
Great to be here, Alex. This is a topic I'm genuinely excited about because we're seeing the intersection of three major forces converging: regulatory pressure from the EU AI Act, technology that's finally mature enough to deliver real value, and clear ROI data that's hard to ignore. Amsterdam is ground zero for this transformation.
Let's start with the numbers because they're pretty striking. We're looking at 71% of enterprises in the Netherlands and Belgium actively investing in AI voice agents for customer service. That's a 38% year-over-year increase. What's driving that acceleration?
There are a few things at play. First, the ROI is undeniable now. We've got hard data. AI-driven customer service reduces incident response time by nearly half, cuts operational costs by 35%, and that matters in sectors like finance, logistics, and healthcare, where Amsterdam has real strength. But second, and this is crucial, the EU AI Act has actually become a competitive advantage rather than a burden. Companies that build compliant systems now are positioning themselves as trustworthy partners, which attracts institutional customers.
That's interesting. Compliance as a moat rather than an obstacle. But let's be concrete. What does a properly built AI voice agent actually look like for an Amsterdam business?
You're looking at 5 integrated layers. At the bottom, you've got speech recognition and natural language understanding. And this needs to handle Dutch and English with context awareness, because your customer isn't just speaking words, they're expressing intent and emotion. Then you've got decision logic that routes conversations intelligently, sometimes to a knowledge base, sometimes to a human agent, sometimes to specialized teams. All of that sits on top of real-time integrations with CRM systems, ticketing platforms, payment processors.
So it's not just a voice bot in isolation. It's embedded in the entire customer infrastructure. What about the sentiment analysis and compliance layers you mentioned?
Those are non-negotiable in Europe. Your system needs to continuously monitor call quality, detect customer frustration in real time, and track conversation effectiveness. And then you've got the audit trail: complete recording, transcription, decision logging. Under the EU AI Act, you need to be able to explain every decision the system makes, especially when it involves sensitive data. This isn't bureaucratic overhead. It's actually what enables scaling without legal risk.
Let's talk about the real-world impact. You mentioned some metrics earlier about average handle time and customer satisfaction. Can you walk us through those?
Absolutely. Organizations deploying mature AI voice agents for first contact resolution are seeing a 68% reduction in average handle time. That's how long it takes to resolve a customer issue. Customer satisfaction scores are improving by 52%, and labor costs for routine inquiries are dropping 41%. But here's the part that surprises people. Escalations to specialized teams happen 89% faster. So you're not replacing humans, you're making them dramatically more efficient.
That's a really important point. This isn't about layoffs. It's about enabling your team to focus on complex, high-value interactions. But I imagine implementation isn't trivial. What are the common pitfalls you see Amsterdam companies facing?
The biggest mistake is treating voice AI as a technology project rather than an organizational change management initiative. You need executive alignment. You need to think about how your workflows change, and you need a serious governance structure from day one. If you deploy a system without proper consent management, audit trails, and bias testing, you're not just creating operational risk, you're creating regulatory exposure. The EU is actively scrutinizing AI in customer service.
So governance isn't something you bolt on later, it's built in from the ground up. What does that look like practically? How does an Amsterdam company actually start implementing this?
Start with an audit of your current customer service operations. Where are your biggest pain points? Where do you lose customers? Once you've identified high-value use cases, maybe it's after-hours support, maybe it's handling common inquiries, You pilot a compliant voice agent in that specific area. You measure performance, you iterate based on customer feedback, and only then do you expand. And throughout, you're documenting everything for the regulators and building internal teams that understand how the system works.
That's a staged approach. Do you think the regulatory environment is going to accelerate adoption or slow it down?
It'll do both, paradoxically. Companies that embrace compliance now will scale quickly and gain market share. Companies that treat the EU AI Act as something to work around later, they're going to face enforcement actions, forced system rollbacks, and reputational damage. So if you're in Amsterdam, in a regulated sector, with customers across Europe, the smart move is to invest in a compliant voice agent now. Your competitors who skip the governance steps will pay for it.
Let's talk about multimodal integration for a second. Voice is one channel, but customers expect to interact across voice, chat, email. How does AI voice fit into that broader ecosystem?
Modern voice agents don't operate in isolation. They're part of a unified customer experience platform. So if a customer calls in, gets routed to a voice agent, asks a question about their account, the system can pull context from their last email interaction or chat session. If the voice agent can't resolve the issue, the handoff to a human is seamless. The agent sees the full conversation history. That's the maturity we're seeing in 2026, and it's a game changer for customer satisfaction.
That's the omni-channel dream. One customer, one conversation thread, regardless of channel. Before we wrap, what's your recommendation for someone listening right now who's responsible for customer service strategy at an Amsterdam-based company?
3 things. First, stop viewing AI voice as a cost reduction play. It's a competitive differentiation opportunity. Second, invest in compliance and governance from day one. It's cheaper and faster than fixing governance after the fact. Third, start small with a pilot that delivers measurable value within 6 months. Show your organization and your customers that you can deploy AI responsibly. That builds momentum for scaled adoption.
Great advice. Sam, thanks for breaking this down. For our listeners who want more detail, case studies, implementation checklists, technical architecture diagrams, the full article is on EtherLink.ai. We've got specific examples from Amsterdam financial services firms, logistics companies, and healthcare providers who are already seeing these ROI improvements. That's EtherLink AI Insights. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, Alex. And remember, 2026 is the inflection point. The time to invest in compliant AI voice is now.